Okay, let's just raise this up a bit so you can see me. Hi. Not that you need to see this ugly mug. Hi everybody, and I am trying to talk louder because again the microphone's over there and I don't have a remote mic yet. No, I'll probably never get one. So this is, I want to promise, going to be a quicker video. I don't think I'm going to go off on any streams of thought or whatever, lots of tangents. But I'm going to talk about this guy because this is my last couple of videos, or at least my last video, talking about this guy, the 924. I put the other three back in the bin, back in the wooden box, ready for the next show. And I put the other four that I had in Ziplocs, and they're in the totes, waiting for me to do something with them. so I have three readily accessible, ready for the next show. This one has to go back in the tote too, and not to the tote, into the display. This one is my lit up 924. This is one of my oldest 924s that I've put together years and years ago, is because I tried back in the day when I had shelf space to have one of each of my favorite, again, because I said this is not my favorite, but it's one of my happy ones. I tried to have one of each of the classic space sets together. My friend Chris even quizzed me to see if I had something together, which is funny. I didn't pass that test because I have a smaller room now and I don't have enough shelf space to keep all my classic space sets on display. And so a lot of them are in totes, and I'm okay with that because I'd rather have the bricks here ready for my next build, and so I don't need to have all my builds on display. And so I've been storing, when I did my my whole series of reviewing classics, all the space sets from 1978 to 6800 to 6991, and I haven't done the last couple yet. I will get there at some point. Most of those ended up in the Ziplocs and in the tote and in storage because I don't have enough room, especially with the bigger sets. Obviously, the bigger sets, the Galaxy Commander and the 6985. I only have one on display in my room, and that's the one that was in the fish tank for 20 plus years. So yeah, I keep that one on display. All my mint condition ones, they're in a Ziploc storage. I keep my really faded, really scratched up, really beat up 6985 because there's a story, and I mentioned this in my other videos, I love stories. I love things that remind me of stories and fun and the good times we had, the good times I had, and the memories. So the 6985 on display in my room is the one that looks like crap. So, because there's a story behind it. Anywho, back to the 924. I know this is one of my oldest and the one that's been together the longest because this was on display even before the internet. I always had like a 928, a 924, a 918, and some other ones, miscellaneous ones, together on my little shelves when I'm building, when I have my little layout in the basement. Even before we started doing classic space shows, or shows where I brought a classic space layout back in 2007-ish, I think, 2006, 2007, after the Greg Highland event. Greg Highland, great. And when he inspired me to bring my own classic space layout, thanks, Greg. And life went on from there. But I in my basement here, I had classic space. And when I lived on my own, the entire basement was available to display stuff. So, and now it's not. And I'm again perfectly content with that because it just gathers dust when it's on the shelf out there. It just gathers dust and it's in the way. And I'd rather have my shows where I display my stuff instead of, again, I'm not gonna drop names here, but there was I know somebody that was famous enough to be famous. Put it politely, put it that way, and And he was a friend of the family, and I was his son's friend, and I would visit his house, and it was a very, very nice house, well decorated, but it didn't have any of his fame on display everywhere in the house. He said, "Why? This is my house. I don't. It's not needed. My ego doesn't need to be have all my platinum records on the walls and blah blah. Not necessary." As I keep on showing you my articles, they're in a bin when I got published. I don't need them up on a wall. Like when I was in kindergarten, my mom would put the artwork up on the fridge. Thanks, Mom. But me, I have this stuff here to inspire me when I start building and say, oh, I'm gonna build something for that. And I go, how can I work this into a blah blah. So I don't need my Saturn V is on display because it's just gorgeous. And again, it's not mine; it's the set, and I put it together. And the boat and the bottles upstairs on the mantle because it fits in that mantle living room fireplace thing. So that's the word is kitsch. The word is what's the other words? You have stuff around the house that you have on display that when your friends come over, a conversation piece, not even a conversation, decoration in the house. I don't want it to be 100% Lego. I don't. I am not interested in having Lego part of all my entire life. Lego is my hobby, and I try to keep it contained. Try to keep it contained to this room for the most part, blah, blah. We've had the conversation, and I promise you not too many tangents. So back to the 924. This is my oldest one. And so when Rob Hendricks released his life lights way back in the day, and when he posted on Mugnet, I think, if I remember correctly, for the first time, I ordered some. I said, woohoo, Rob Hendricks life lights. I bought a Life Lights Junior for my 918 because it had 4 lights, and the 918 is perfect, and with 4 lights. And after I fell in love with that, I ordered a whole bunch more advanced kits and basic kits and blah blah. And you can go back in my YouTube feed and see my layout lit up. Because I made some videos about that. But this guy here was the second ship that I lit up. This one right here. Because it was available, it was quick to grab off the shelf. Because it was right here when I was like experimenting with life lights. And that's why I know he's been together the longest, because he's the only one I had at the time to put a life lights kit into it. so this one has been around. Again, now that I know I always know how brittle now light gray is, I don't bother taking these things apart. It's together. It's going to stay together. Whether the 3 that are also in the box, ready for the next show, they'll stay together too. Now, whether the 4 I just built will stay together, I'm thinking there's no point in me taking them apart. Again, yes, I'm short pieces now for maybe future builds, but I have other things I can take apart for those, and I just want to keep the 924s together, just like want to keep my 928s together and my 918s together. And if I need to build something else, a mock or something like that, I have the ability to do that. Really, really quick, we're going to zoom in here. You can see some wires coming out of the... There is the brick. Let me just take this thing right off. There we go. 4x10 trans yellow. I think I'd be more careful. You would think. So there's the life lights kit there. It is a advanced kit. So it has an external battery, whereas the Junior has a little tiny thin battery that goes inside the actual brick. This one has an external 1.5 volt battery box, which is also built into here. You can sort of see the end right there. So it does take a little bit of rebuilding of this set to run the wires, because what I do for my builds for life lights, and I think he's expanded now, but wherever there was a 1x1 trans red or trans green plate is where I ran the wire to. So you can see down here, I rebuilt it. The wire comes out the side here. So again, the 6x6 is still there, but there's a void here to run the wires out on each side, so I don't have to drill or take off studs. The only time I drill is when I have to get back into or modify a plate, is when I have to get back into where the light's going to be, because again, you have to drill through the stud. In the end, you have to drill through a stud. Now you can get those other those other kits, and I think Rob even has them, where it's nano or something like that, where the wire is so small you don't have to drill through a plate to get the light to where it is. You can just build it in. I haven't done any of that yet, and it wasn't available when I started doing this. And again, this thing is ancient. Like, I don't know how, I think this is like the first year that Rob Hendricks was releasing life lights. So the nano did not exist yet. And nor, now that I've done my entire layout with just regular life light kits, I'm not remotely interested in going to nano. Now, I should try it when I start lighting up more ships, because that is my next big phase of the layout. This layout here, because again, the tower's all lit up, the base is all lit up, everything's lit up, landing pads are all lit up, everything's lit up. But the ships are not, and the vehicles are not. And so that is, I have one, maybe two 928s lit up, and I have one 924 lit up, and I have one 918 lit up. So that's 4 out of all the ships. I think I actually tried to wire up a Starfleet Voyager, the 6929. I honestly can't remember the status now, because that was in the archaic parts of my mind. Life has happened since then, so I don't know what the status is of my 6929 lighting up kit, because I remember trying to light that thing up, and that was a little difficult. But I should actually dig it out to see how it looks, to see if I can complete that one, because the 6929 again is one of those classic space sets that grew on me. I hated it, but hate is a strong word. I disliked it immensely, and I was never ever gonna buy it, and I never ever did buy one off the shelf. But of course, with the majority of my classic space sets here, my duplicates anyway, I got from used lots. And so I got a 6929, and of course I would not know that I got a 6929 in a used lot until I got to used lot. And because most used lots back in the day was just one cardboard box full of pieces. And again, I had no idea or want to build a 6929 until I started doing shows. Straight up, I never thought about making a 6929 or put one back together until I started doing classic space layouts. It wasn't, 6929 was not in the first layout or even the second. I don't think it was in the first year of us doing shows, Jeff and me. There was no 6929s. But after a while of me getting, I won't say tired of just seeing 928s and 924s, 918s on the layout, I decided to expand. And I didn't want to get to the Galaxy Commanders, because the white and blue, I think, showed up a few times in the Trans Dark Blue, showed up a few times in some of our layouts, but again, classic space. And yes, the Starfleet Voyager is gray, white, and Trans Dark Blue, but is more classic than the Galaxy Commander. So I remember, I don't know which show it was, but I put one together and I said, it's okay, maybe. And I brought it to a show, and then I built 2 of them, and they were side by side, and going, there's something there. There's something there with the Starfleet Voyager. And now I have a bunch. So because again, I had all the pieces, and the Starfleet Voyager doesn't have a lot of unique rare pieces to it. It actually has just a lot of basic pieces to it, a lot of basic classic space pieces to it. The rare pieces would be the trans gray, but that's not even, because it came in a solar, the 6x5x2 inverted slope that came in this the solar power. Wow, I'm forgetting names now. But it came in a solar powered transporter, 2 of them, the gray, the Trans Dark Blue, a whole bunch of Galaxy Commander. So Starfleet Voyager is not a difficult set to find pieces for, I don't think. And so you can build one whenever you want. Even the Trans Dark Blue 4x6 Trans Dark Blue is not rare. I have lots. I don't know if it just came in that set. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I do have a bunch. So anyway, back to this guy. So I want to put life lights in all my ships and all my vehicles if I can, wherever I can put life lights in the vehicle, just to light it up more. And to one of my future states of the layout is to have some of these ships suspended by filament or something, so they're in the air, like, or in space, and have a black backdrop behind the layout. And so I have some plans for that. It is a plan. It's a nebulous plan at best right now, but it's becoming more and more. So what happens? It percolates in my mind when I have an idea, I think, oh, and then what invariably happens after a year, 5, 10, I go over to Home Depot, I buy the parts I need, and I come home and I say, oh, I could have done it better after I buy the parts, but whatever, that's fine. And so I do have a plan. And it's winter time. I might be able to have some time after Christmas to experiment with that, because I don't think I have any shows between now and like March or April next year, so I can just play with that for a bit. But back to the life lights again, tangents and tangents. 16 minutes. So the life lights brick is right there. It's a 2x4 brick. It has 8 wires coming out of it, and then the back here is where I hide the rest of the wiring and the actual. You can see right there in the bottom, the battery box. And so on the 924, because it only had 4 1x1 trans tile or plates, 2 red and then 2 green, I had 8 wires, so I just used 4 for that. And I said, well, what am I going to use the other 2 for? Now for the 928s, I've been putting lights in the cab, and I think that I did the same thing here. I did the same thing here, so it lights up the cockpit. So that's 6 wires. And so what I did is I drilled holes in the back, not the actual thrusters, because it has the axle piece. Now again, these are the axle hole thrusters, 4x4x2. So they're not original to this set, because the set would have had no axle hole in the thrusters, the rocket cones. But I don't want to drill holes in my rocket cones, my original ones that didn't have these. So I just, so you guys, this is not original authentic. And of course, it's not anyway, because I drilled holes and I modified it so I can run the wires. so I am not worried about perfection of the pieces being era specific. I'm not. When it comes to shows, nobody coming to a show is going to care that those rocket thrusters are not the original rocket thrusters to this set. They came out 3 years later. Yay for me. Anywho, so that's 8 wires. And so what I wanted to do before I go to bed tonight is I wanted to show you this thing lit up. And so I take off the back, and this is what I did with the 928s as well. And then you reach in here, and there's a little tiny switch, there it is on top. And I turn it on. And now before I turn off the lights, this is why I love life lights. And after you get it done, that's the one thing that I don't like. And then the advanced kit has flashy patterns, so you can see the reds are flashy patterns, and the gray and the green are on solid, and you can see the little light. And well, I'll turn off the light so you can see the light. And then the back is the thrumming of rockets. So if I go here, now the lights are out, and here's the 924 lit up. Now I couldn't do what I wanted to do, like with my layout, which is to have an exterior, like in the Enterprise, of course, it has lights showing the hull. There's no good lighting to get onto the wings at all. The red lights, the marker lights are flashing. The back lights are thrumming, or whatever they call it, so it looks like there's a rocket thing. And of course, the green lights are also slightly thrumming, which it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about that too much. And then, of course, the cab's lit up. The cockpit's lit up. And you can see inside. Hello, guy. There he is. These, only one light's working in the cockpit. I'll have to fix that. So I put the lights back on. It is what it is. It's been ages since this has been on. And the batteries, I don't know. So I should actually make sure they're not leaking. But obviously they're not leaking as the lights came on. So I love life lights, and I do want to get all my ships, as they say, lit up. And so that's good. That's a mini project when I have time. But in the interim, that guy is going to go right over here, and I'm not going to worry about him for a while. So my new N24 discussion for the day is done. I built the 4, so now I have 8 altogether that are built. I'm happy about that. And as I say, at some point, I am going to put everything on display just to see what I got, because I don't even know what I have. And that's not a flex. That's just 40 plus years of buying used lots and gathering collections and enjoying this hobby. And so when it comes down to what I actually own, specifics, I have no idea. I honestly don't know, because when you buy a box, you don't know what's in the box. Now, you go back to my YouTube videos for the last 2 or 3 years. When I buy a used lot, I usually make a video of that used lot, and I try to make all the sets out of that used lot before, you know, I sort it into the collection, which has been fun, and I really did enjoy that. But I was collecting long before that, where I just buy a box and wash it and then sort it in the collection, not even caring what could be in the box. And that's before I started building like Starfleet Voyagers and building the Robot Command Center. I'm very, very confident that I had those sets because I saw the pieces sporadically when I'm building something else. Robot Command Center again, which I never liked when it was on the store shelf, and I never bought it when I was on the store shelf, but I have 4 copies of that minimum, and I'm happy that I have those 4 copies together, because I think it's one of the cutest sets they ever put out. It is, seriously, I keep on calling it a parts pack, because it is a parts pack. It is a fantastic parts pack. If you want to start classic space, buy a Robot Command Center. Straight up, you get like basically all the pieces you need to build something small, but whatever you want: ships, vehicles, like bases, whatever. The Robot Command Center has it all. But as a Robot Command Center, again, when I looked at it in the stores, not buying it. Just like the Starfleet Voyager, not buying it. It is ugly. And then I built one, and then my mind changed. And I don't think I have one here right now, because it does take up some room on the shelf. So I do not have a Robot Command Center on display, but I have the bunch in the Ziplocs and again in storage. And so I do want to see everything I have together. And what I'm doing now is I'm going into my collections, my collection behind me, my huge Lego collection, and I'm saying, what other classic space sets can I build? And again, when it comes to the smaller ones, the 885, 886, I fill this table and I don't care. That's irrelevant to me. But something a little bigger, like the rocket launcher or the Alpha 1 rocket base, I haven't built the Alpha 1 in forever, and I'd like to again. And so that might be something I'm going to do. So keep an eye on this space. 23 minutes is shorter than my other videos, so I promise you a shorter video. This is shorter. so I am going to go to bed now. Everybody out there, stay safe, take care, and the weekend's over for me, but I think this one's dropping on Thursday, so I hope you're having a good week. And Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure how far ahead I got right now. As I said in the previous videos, I am trying to do upload videos, so 1 per day, drops at 6 a.m. I skipped November 11th for obvious reasons. November 11th is a very, very important day for my appreciation of what happened, and I didn't feel like having a video drop on November 11th. So anyway, we're going to get back into it, and there will be times when I won't have videos queued up to go, so you're going to probably find a day or two, maybe a week, especially through the winter, where I actually have nothing to talk about. And you'll have to wait for my next one. But for now, I already got a week ahead, so you guys all stay safe, take care, and I will talk to you soon.